Hello and welcome to another episode of Isolation Station. My name is Jim, one of the leaders at Waypoint Church, and it's an absolute privilege today to introduce to you Lisa Hall. Lisa is one of our members at the church. She also serves in youth work and all other areas as well. She's a lovely lady and she has a great family. But today she's speaking about the importance of making sacrifices during lockdown. Such an important topic, we believe, to share with you some really practical things as we develop our PPE, our personal protective equipment, and how we can have healthy cultures in our homes, whether on our own or whether we are with family members. So please continue to watch, enjoy it, and share it as well with your friends and family. Take care and see you soon. Bye.
Hello, today I'm going to be talking about making sacrifices and how that can help us be a good witness and ultimately be a blessing. So, a definition: sacrifice is the act of giving up or not doing something for something else that is more important or more worthwhile. Now, just before lockdown, I went to the cinema. Do you remember those? And I saw the Military Wives film. Now, most military things tend to focus on the ultimate sacrifice that the soldier is willing to make. But this film focused on the day-to-day sacrifices that military wives make. And I could relate to that, being an ex-military wife. So we had 16 years of career uncertainty, things being cancelled last minute, the government dictating everything we did, having our lives uprooted, often not knowing what the future would bring. All sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? And it was quite good training, I've got to say. Now we're all facing times and things that we have to sacrifice at the moment. And some examples of those, my sister's a nurse, so every day when she goes out, like lots of key workers, she puts herself at risk and then goes back home to her families. It's a risk that they're willing to take and a sacrifice they're willing to make. Lots of people are doing the same things. Grandparents sacrificing not seeing their new grandchildren, children not going into school to see their friends, teenagers not doing their exams, although some are more happy about that than others. And of course there's the financial sacrifices that people are making. Now I'm interested in this and wanted to see what the Bible said about it. Now obviously lots of sacrifices are mentioned in the Old Testament, quite often to do with making animal sacrifices to pay for a particular sin. In the New Testament, the focus is on the sacrifice of Jesus for us to pay for our sins. Lots of the book of Romans is about that, but it also describes some of the ways that we can make sacrifices to please God, not because we have to, but because we want to. So what can we possibly offer? So I've kind of grouped it into three. The first one being a sacrifice of praise. So Hebrews asks us to continually offer a sacrifice of praise to God. Now it's easy to be happy in praise and worship when everything is going well, but making that sacrifice, that discipline to worship even when things are going badly, that's a sacrifice. And how do we praise during lockdown? So we can use technology. It's been amazing at this time. We can YouTube our favourite worship songs. Some of them are sing-along versions. We can ask Google to play Premier Praise or look for worship songs on Spotify. You could even do it the old-fashioned way and use a CD. You can use it as part of your quiet time, or do dance-offs with the children, or have it on in the background when you're having meals. There's all sorts of ways that you can bring that everyday worship into your life during lockdown. And of course, it's not just about music. There's lots of different ways you can be creative and use those gifts that you've been given. Poetry, crafts. Who would have known colouring would have been such a blessing? So yeah, doing all those things is a great way to show your worship to God. And you can do some of those things online, of course, as well. Now, there's two. The sacrifice of your resources. So Paul encourages us to share with God's people who are in need, but also to give generously to your enemies, because it will surprise him with goodness. And in Hebrews it talks about how sharing with others is pleasing to God. So the Waypoint Hub has been giving away hundreds of food and boredom bags to families in need. There are many things going on in the community that people can get involved with, which actually shows God's love in action where it's needed. And I'd like to take this opportunity to sort of challenge you. Are you being the hands and feet of Christ at this time? Are you doing things actively to show God's love? 3, being a living sacrifice. Now, Paul writes that our bodies should be living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God, and we should go on doing this, and of course not conform and be squeezed into the mould of the world. So what are we choosing to do during lockdown? How are we spending our time behind closed doors? The experts are telling us that alcohol and drugs, domestic violence, abuse and consumption of inappropriate content is all on the rise while we are locked down. Now, being a Christian doesn't make you immune to those things at all. Are we making the right choices? What about our children and our spouses? Is there some ways that we need to be helping each other with this? Now, we're all so grateful to social media right now, but it is a window into our lives. And are we being honest and relatable when we're using social media? Are we showing God's love and comfort through the things that we post? Are we reflecting the fruits of the Spirit through social media? Could we ask God to help us present a more Christ-like image? At this moment in time, people are desperate. They're reaching out for hope. They're looking for comfort and answers, and we've got that. Can our sacrifices of praise, our practical sacrifices, and being a living sacrifice, can that make all the difference during lockdown? Thank you.